I, Vice Chair John Flegel, call the Hybrid Electrical and Elevator Board meeting of September 28th, 2023 to order at 9:30. Debbie, will you please call the roll?
Yes, sir. Chairing the meeting this morning is our Vice Chair, John Flegel, who is in the room.
Present.
Thank you. And connected by Zoom, our Chair, Thomas Kyle.
Here.
EJ Barlow
Here.
is connected by Zoom. Elizabeth Bunga,
Here.
connected by Zoom. Sarah Young,
Here.
connected by Zoom. Robert Lazalier,
Here.
also connected by Zoom. Rob McNeill.
Here.
Thank you, Rob. Connected by Zoom. Ryan Richards,
Here.
connected by Zoom. Richard Rudder,
Here.
connected by Zoom. Al Shucker. Al. Frank Sonnabend is in the room. Frank?
Here.
Thank you, Frank. Ken Spencer is also in the room.
Here.
Thank you. Mr. Acting Chair, we do have a quorum.
Thank you, Debbie. If there members, have there been any changes to the amended or the order of business? If there are none, I, Vice Chair John Flegel, rule the amended agenda for and order of business approved as published. I, Vice Chair John Flegel, rule draft meeting minutes of July 27th, 2023 final. Date of the next meeting is November 16th, 2023. And that moves us on to number 2. And Michael?
Good morning, Chair and members of the board. For the record, I'm Michael Mayorga Hamilton, contested case representative with the division. I'm here to present the proposed final order in case C 2021-174 in the matter of Sean Murphy, DBA Murphy Family Electric. The division issued a notice against Sean Murphy, DBA Murphy Family Electric for violating OAR 918-282-120 subdivision 1 3 times for allowing an unlicensed person to perform electrical installations. Additionally, Mr. Murphy, as assigning supervisor, violated OAR 918-282-142F 3 times by permitting, either by assent or failure to prevent, an individual to perform electrical work for which the individual was not properly licensed. And finally, Mr. Murphy violated OAR 479-5501 one time by failing to obtain an electrical permit prior to performing an electrical installation. For the penalties, the notice proposed civil penalties amounting to $21,500, a reinstatement of previous civil penalty of $2,750, a 2-year suspension of Mr. Murphy's electrical contractor license, and a 2-year suspension of Mr. Murphy's general supervising electrician license. A hearing was held on July 20th, 2023. A proposed order was issued by ALJ Jari on September 5th, 2023, affirming that the division's proposed civil penalties, license suspensions, and reinstatement of previous civil penalties were appropriate. Respondent was given the opportunity to file exceptions to the proposed order. Respondent submitted a response to the proposed order, which the division considers to be without merit. The division recommends that the board modify ALJ Jari's proposed order to incorporate the suggested modifications into the language of the final order attached as Exhibit 2. These recommended modifications will not alter ALJ Jari's proposed order concerning the respondent's penalties. A motion is required for this item, and the board may accept the division's recommended modification and issue the order provided in Exhibit 2 as the final order. Amend ALJ's proposed order and specify what the board would like to alter in the proposed order and provide direction about the issuance of a final order, or disapprove the proposed order and provide further direction to the division. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
I would like to make a motion to accept the division's recommendation modifications and issue the order provided in Exhibit 2 as the final order.
I second.
Debbie, can you please call the roll?
Yes, sir. Acting as Chair John Flegel,
Aye.
Chair Thomas Kyle,
Aye.
Ken Spencer,
Aye.
Richard Rudder,
Aye.
Ryan Richards,
Aye.
Robert McNeill,
Aye.
Robert Lazalier,
Aye.
Elizabeth Bunga,
Aye.
Sarah Young,
Aye.
William Barlow,
Aye.
and Frank Sonnabend.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to call on Pierre to discuss or address the public comment item.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Pierre Sabat, Policy Analyst for the Division. We do not have any requests to provide general public comment to the board. However, I'll take a moment just in case there's anyone in the room or online that would like to provide general public comment to the board. Hearing none, that concludes general public comment. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For the record, Brian Kreis, Electrical Program Chief. I'd like to start out today introducing our new Senior Policy Analyst, Richard Donovan. Richard in the back room there. Richard, he joined VIII.D earlier this month. Prior to joining us, Richard spent a decade in the legislature, initially working on as a nonpartisan committee staff for the education policy committees, and then for 7 years as a lobbyist for the Oregon School Boards Association. Richard will be working on legislative matters as well as coordinating with local jurisdictions and other projects for the division as they pop up. Welcome, Richard. So start my update for you today with the status of the Oregon Electrical Specialty Code. The Oregon Electrical Specialty Code will be effective October 1st for permits issued after that date. An updated Table 1E will be on the VIII.D website shortly, definitely by that date. To go along with that, electrical licensing exams given on or after October 1st will be from the updated exam bank that incorporates the 2023 OESC. I'd like to thank my assistant Damon for all of his hard work and effort to make this happen. He's been a workhorse on that. We're in the middle of putting the training materials together for the OIC training. Look for it on our website when it becomes available. I started having meetings with different industry groups to talk about the electrical program and the adoption of the new code. Communication and outreach to the industry are two things that I want to continue to improve. I'm looking at different ways to make that happen or make that more effective. If you have an idea, talk to me about it. Todd Smith will be giving you an update about Senate Bill 582 Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Training Program. From the law, the Electrical Elevator Board has requirements to monitor the status of how many EVITP certified people are in the state, with the requirements changing once there are 500 people with the certification. One training center director I talked to last week about this said they have already certified 56 people today. So, lastly, I'd like to thank Keith Anderson for agreeing to stay on after I was hired to bring me up to speed. He has shared a wealth of institutional knowledge of the electrical program with me over the past couple of months and was there to answer all sorts of questions that I've had. His last day is the 30th, a couple of days from now, and I wish him well in his retirement years. Does anyone have any questions for me? Mr. Vice Chair, some electrical program update.
Thank you, sir. This takes us to 4B, Warren Hartung.
Good morning, Mr. Vice Chair,
Morning.
members of the board. For the record, Warren Hartung, I'm the Chief Elevator Inspector for the Elevator Inspection Program Statewide Services. You have accident reports from June through August, finally updated. Nothing unusual to report there, just a lot of airport falls, again. And I wish there was a way we could minimize that, but nobody wants to listen, so. Also have the 2023 elevator inspection chart, shows our production to date and where we're falling behind, and we always fall behind this time of year. We simply don't have enough staff to keep up, so. But that's a known, that's not a mystery. That's all I have for right now. Anyone have any questions, comments?
Thank you, Warren.
Okay, thank you.
And under C, Andy Bolton.
Good morning. Excuse me. Good morning, Acting Chair Flegel, members of the board. I'm Andy Bolton, Senior Policy Advisor for the division. I'm here this morning to give you a brief update on the legislation that came out of this year's legislative session that impacts the division. There's a full summary in the board packet that goes into depth on the bills that impact the division and the division's plan for implementing the requirements. Normally, I'd be focusing on items that are specifically relevant to the subject matter of this board, but there's really only one item that impacts this board, and as Brian mentioned, Todd will be addressing that in an agenda item coming up. So I'm just going to touch on a couple of the broader themes from the session that still may be of interest, and then get out of your hair for the morning. You can review the full summary if you'd like to go into more detail, and if you'd like even more detail, the full bill language as well as supporting documents, legislative histories, and analysis are available on the Oregon Legislative Information System website, also known as OLIS. If there are questions, I'll do my best to answer them, but if it is a detail-specific question about bill language, I may need to take the question away with me and come back to you with a more complete answer. All right, kicking it off. The increasing housing supply was a major theme of the session, and the primary bills that the legislature used to address this priority were House Bills 2001, 2889, and 3395. There's a lot going on in these bills, and it would be outside the scope of this update to go into a full detail on them, since most of it does not actually impact the division. There are a few items that impact the division, including creating a definition of visitability and accessibility, and to explore allowing single-exit residential buildings under the OSSC, but nothing directly impacting electrician licensing or the OESC. The summary in your board packet will give you a better idea of the extent, and again, if you'd really like to dig into the details, the oldest page for that bill is a great resource. Any questions about the housing-related bills before I move on? Okay. Next up is House Bill 3409. This is the Climate and Greenhouse Gas Emissions Bill. Much like the housing bills, there is a lot going on here. This bill actually combines 15 different bills from earlier in the session into one big bill. The bill adds consideration of greenhouse gas emissions to the list of priorities the division must consider when executing agency action. The division is directed to consult with the Environmental Justice Council when evaluating priorities that the division sets and actions that the division takes to adapt to and mitigate the impacts of climate change. The division is currently exploring the best way to implement this consultation, but it'll likely involve just a regular check-in with the council on pending agency action in that area. The bill places into statute the reporting requirements that had already existed under Executive Order 2004, and the division will continue to fulfill these requirements as it has since the EO was put into place in 2020. The division is directed to study the use of lower carbon building materials in the building code, and to this end, the legislature funded 2 additional positions with the division. The division also anticipates contracting with a third party to assist with the study. The Oregon Department of Energy was directed to develop energy performance standards for covered commercial buildings. The division will consult with the Department of Energy on these standards. Again, there is nothing in 3409 that directly impacts electrician licensing or the OESC. It's more of just a general update for the board's information. Any questions specifically about 3409? All right. Seeing none, I will continue to tease the agenda item for 582 coming up, and I'll get out of your hair.
Thank you, Andy. Next up, we have Julia Heyer.
Good morning. Vice Chair Flegel, Chair Kyle, members of the board, my name is Julia Heyer, Enforcement Manager at the Building Codes Division. I'm here to provide a brief update related to enforcement. We are currently speaking with internal and external stakeholders to explore updates to the penalty matrix, which was last updated back in March of 2017 and is used to enforce cases involving the electrical and elevator board, the plumbing board, and the boiler board. Once a draft is complete, we will bring any updates to the penalty matrix to each of the affected boards to receive feedback. We can work to make any additional updates requested at those board meetings, and will obtain approval of the boards prior to making any changes. We've also put some statistics related to our work in 2023 in your packet. And as you can see from that document, for the time period of January 1, 2023 through the end of August, we mailed 54 notices on behalf of the Electrical and Elevator Board. We also sent 19 warning letters, executed 30 consent orders, had 2 final orders from a hearing, had 8 final orders where the notice had defaulted, and had 4 cases pending before the Office of Administrative Hearings. Again, all of these actions have involved cases for the Electrical and Elevator Board. We hope the information is helpful, and we'll provide future updates after 2023 comes to a close, but please let me know if you have any questions.
We have none.
Thank you.
I would like to thank the staff for focusing on enforcement. It's important to me to know that work being done in the states is being done safely and not putting property owners or lives at risk. And I appreciate the efforts of those in the enforcement program.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. And that brings us back to Michael.
Good morning again, Chair, members of the board. For the record again, my name is Michael Myora Hamilton, contested case representative for the division. Before the board is a summary of consent orders that were recently negotiated by the division on behalf of the board. And we've entered into 10 consent agreements in the cases since our last board meeting. All settlements, including the amount owed and suspended civil penalties, fall within the guidelines of the matrix. First case on the agenda is C 2022-137 in the matter of Levi Wentz. The respondent was assessed a penalty of $8,000 for allowing unlicensed work as a signing supervisor and for failing to be continuously employed. Respondent has agreed to pay a penalty of $6,500 with the remaining $1,500 suspended for a period of 5 years. Respondent has also agreed to a 9-month suspension of his general supervising electrician license. Following the 9-month suspension, the division will issue respondent a conditional general supervising electrician license as follows. Respondent shall keep the division uninformed of any and all electrical contractors from whom he works during that 3-month period. Respondent shall identify the starting date of employment and shall provide contact information for each electrical contractor within 5 calendar days of securing employment. Within 7 calendar days of beginning work with an electrical contractor, respondent shall also provide a list of all electrical are all electricians and apprentices that are working under respondent's signing supervisor license. Identify whether those individuals are electricians or an apprentice, provide proof of the individual's license with the division, and provide an explanation of how respondent is ensuring that all electrical apprentices are properly supervised by a licensed Oregon journeyman electrician. The second case on the agenda is C 2022-174 in the matter of Rodrigo Hernandez Martinez. The respondent in this case was assessed a penalty of $6,000 for performing electrical installations without a valid electrical contractor license, supervising or journeyman electrician license, or a permit. Respondent agrees to pay a penalty of $1,050 with the remaining $4,950 suspended. The third case on the agenda is C 2022-176 in the matter of Brendan Kerrigan. The respondent in this case was assessed a penalty of $6,000 for performing electrical installations without an electrical contractor license, a supervising electrician license, or journeyman electrician license. Respondent also failed to obtain a permit. And the respondent agrees to pay $1,250 with the remaining $4,750 suspended for a period of 5 years. The fourth case on the agenda is C 2023-34 in the matter of Dmitry Thevenin. The respondent was assessed a penalty of $5,000 for performing electrical installations without an electrical contractor license or without the supervision of a supervising electrician. Respondent agrees to pay a penalty of $1,250 with the remaining $4,750 suspended. The fifth case on the agenda is C 2023-43 in the matter of Gary Hunter. Respondent in this case was assessed a penalty of $12,000 for performing electrical installations without an electrical contractor license, without the supervision of a supervising electrician license, and without a permit. Respondent agrees to pay $3,000 with the remaining $9,000 suspended for a period of 5 years. And respondent also agrees to a 6-month suspension of his journeyman electrician license. Also, as a side note, respondent has consented to the suspension of his Oregon Electrical Inspector license and his inspector certification for a period of 90 days, and this is being addressed under the director's authority. The sixth case on the agenda is C 2022-102 in the matter of Siret Building Solutions, LLC. The respondent was assessed a penalty of $3,000 for advertising to perform electrical installations without an electrical contractor license. Respondent agrees to pay $600 with the remaining $2,400 suspended for a period of 5 years. The seventh case on the agenda is C 2023-71 in the matter of Jonathan Siret. The respondent was assessed a penalty of $6,000 for performing electrical installations without an electrical contractor license, without a supervising electrician license, journeyman electrician license, or limited residential electrician license. Respondent has agreed to pay a penalty of $900 with $5,100 suspended for a period of 5 years. The eighth case on the agenda is C 2023-74 in the matter of Brian Sachansky. Respondent in this case was assessed a penalty of $2,000 for performing electrical installations without a supervising electrician license, journeyman electrician license, or limited residential electrician license. Respondent agrees to pay $500 with the remaining $1,500 suspended for a period of 5 years. The ninth case on the agenda is C 2023-116 in the matter of Brian's Renovation and Repair, LLC. The respondent was assessed a penalty of $6,000 for allowing unlicensed workers and unlicensed worker to perform electrical installations, for performing electrical installations without an electrical contractor license, and for performing electrical installations without a permit. The respondent has agreed to pay a penalty of $1,500 with the remaining $4,500 suspended for a period of 5 years. The 10th and final case on the agenda is C 2023-47 in the matter of Snurden Group, LLC. The respondent was assessed a penalty of $2,000 for allowing unlicensed electrical installations, and respondent has agreed to pay a penalty of $750 with the remaining $1,250 suspended for a period of 5 years. Motion is required on this item.
Thank you.
Thank you for rolling through all of those and appreciate the information on all of them. I make a motion to adopt the 10 cases proposed for resolution as outlined in the Enforcement Board's report and issue final orders.
Thomas Kyle seconds.
Debbie, can you call the roll, please?
Yes, sir. Acting as Chair, John Flegel.
Aye.
Chair Thomas Kyle.
Aye.
Frank Sonnabend.
Aye.
Ken Spencer.
Aye.
Richard Rudder.
Aye.
Brian Richards.
Aye.
Rob McNeill.
Aye.
Robert Wazaleer.
Aye.
Sarah Young.
Aye.
Elizabeth Bunga.
Aye.
William Barlow.
Aye.
Mr. Acting Chair, the motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Debbie. And Michael, you're up again.
Okay. I'm going to present to you now the default orders. A motion's not going to be required for this item. The first default on the agenda is C 2022-106 in the matter of Glacier Electric. Respondent was assessed a penalty of $2,000 for allowing unlicensed electrical installations. Second default is C 2023-100 in the matter of Richard Lee. This case is related to the previous case. The respondent was assessed a penalty of $3,000 for allowing unlicensed electrical installations to be performed as a signing supervisor. The third default on the agenda is C 2021-122 in the matter of Devin Hooper. The respondent was assessed a penalty of $2,000 for performing electrical installations without an Oregon electrical license. The fourth default on the agenda is C 2021-123 in the matter of Eco Electric Northwest. The respondent was assessed a penalty of $4,000 for performing electrical installations without an electrical contractor license and without a permit. The fifth case on the agenda is C 2022-108 in the matter of Mark Stanko. The respondent was assessed a penalty of $3,000 for permitting unlicensed electrical work. The sixth case is C 2022-126 in the matter of Abran Perea. The respondent was assessed a penalty of $2,000 for performing unlicensed electrical installations. And the seventh default is C 2022-173 in the matter of Seagull Beachfront Inn LLC. Respondent was assessed a penalty of $2,000 for procuring unlicensed electrical work. As I mentioned, no motions are required, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Michael? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Number 5, communications. That brings us Todd Smith to discuss Senate Bill 582.
Good morning, Vice Chair Flegel and Chair Kyle and members of the board. Todd Smith, Policy and Technical Services Manager for the division. I want to give you an update and discuss Senate Bill 582. This bill relates to electric vehicle infrastructure training programs. The bill itself is in your packet. It's actually a relatively short bill, but the language is a little complicated. So I'm happy to answer questions as we go through it. The first section of the bill creates some definitions for equivalent training programs and creates some public contracting requirements when installing electric vehicle infrastructure to use certified electricians under the electric vehicle infrastructure training program or an equivalent training program as approved by the board. That part of the bill does not necessarily impact the division or the work we do, but it will here as we get through the bill. In section 2, it adds some additional requirements of how many people need to hold that certification, and that part becomes active once the board certifies 500 people have been through the program and have that certification. That part is where the board comes in on the certification of the 500 individual electricians. Currently, we are accepting continuing education applications for those programs. The board has approved some. We're in the process of making the count of the number of people who have been through the program. We've also received some interest in having equivalent programs approved. That definition's in the bill, but people are looking for some additional guidance. And so we're going to work with the CE committee to create some additional guidance on what an equivalent training program looks like and how many hours both the EVITP program will get for CE and an equivalent training program will get for CE, so they're all kind of treated the same way. I hope to have some of that information to the board at the next meeting for your review and approval. That is the gist of it in general, but like I said, it is a little complicated of a bill, and I'm happy to answer questions that anyone from the board may have on it or the implementation.
Are there any questions for Todd?
The equivalent training programs or the training programs in place address that 25 kW threshold that's listed in the bill?
I don't know the details of the exact training programs, but I believe it does, because that should be part of the definition of the bill. So yes, my assumption is the answer is yes, but I would have to get back to you with a direct answer.
Quick question for you. On your training program, is this training program going to be issued to inspectors also, so we understand what's happening?
That's a great question. Under the bill, it only requires the contractors to be certified, but there would be nothing stopping an inspector from taking the program if they would like to. But that part is not envisioned by the bill. There is no inspection requirement in the bill itself.
Any other questions? Thank you, Todd.
Thank you.
And we're to new business, agenda 8, item A, and brings us to Pierre.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Pierre Sabat, Policy Analyst with the Division. The Division requested the Board review and approve the provisions of the 2024 Oregon Elevator Specialty Code and forward the code to the Administrator for rulemaking and subsequent adoption. The anticipated effective date of this elevator code would be January 1st, 2024. For some background, at the May 25th, 2023 board meeting, the board established that a code committee would be formed and recommended ASME standards for the 2024 Oregon Elevator Specialty Code. The solicitation period for the code review committee members was open from June 5th, 2023 to June 18th, 2023. The public proposal period was open to submissions on proposed code changes from June 1st, 2023 to July 20th, 2023. At the July 27th, 2023 board meeting, the board announced that the members of the Code Review Committee and selected a chair for the committee. The Oregon Elevator Specialty Code Review Committee met and completed an analysis of the proposed 2024 code and proposed ASME standards on September 6, 2023. The Code Review Committee's recommendations and the proposed rule language are both included in your board packet, and this agenda item will require a motion, which is also in your board packet, and Warren is here to answer any technical questions. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Are there any questions for Warren or Pierre? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion.
I move to approve the proposed code language and forward to the administrator for rulemaking and subsequent adoption, with the finding that the added cost, if any, is necessary to the health and safety of the occupants or the public, or necessary to conserve resources.
Thank you, Rob.
Welcome.
I'll second.
Debbie, can you call the roll, please?
Yes, sir. Acting as Chair, John Flegel.
Aye.
Chair Thomas Kyle.
Aye.
Frank Sonnabend.
Aye.
Ken Spencer.
Aye.
Richard Rudder.
Aye.
Brian Richards.
Aye.
Rob McNeill.
Aye.
Robert Lazalier.
Aye.
Sarah Young. Sarah, you're muted. Sarah Young.
Sorry. Aye.
Thank you, Sarah. Elizabeth Bunga. Elizabeth Bunga. I see you're connected, Elizabeth. Are you struggling with your sound? I'll come back to you, Elizabeth. William Barlow?
Aye.
Elizabeth Bunga?
She wrote in the chat.
She did say aye in a text. It was on the screen.
Mr. Acting Chair, the motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Debbie. This takes us to item B. Pierre again.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For the record, Pierre Sabah, Policy Analyst for the Division. The Board's Continuing Education Committee has been evaluating courses and instructors on the Board's behalf. This past month, the committee reviewed 146 applications from 24 organizations. 74 courses were recommended for approval. 64 instructors were recommended for approval. 8 courses were recommended for denial. A motion is needed to approve, amend, or deny the committee's recommendations, examples of which are outlined in your agenda packet. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Is there any further discussion? And I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the committee's recommendations for approval or denial of courses or instructors.
Second the motion.
Thank you. Debbie, can you please call the roll?
Yes, sir. Acting Chair John Flegel?
Aye.
Chair Thomas Kyle?
Aye.
Frank Sonneban?
Aye.
Ken Spencer?
Aye.
Ryan Richards?
Aye.
Richard Rudder?
Aye.
Rob McNeill?
Aye.
Robert Lazalier?
Aye.
Sarah Young?
Aye.
Elizabeth Bunga?
I,
Thank you, Elizabeth. William Barlow?
Aye.
Mr. Acting Chair, the motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Debbie. And again, we have item C, and Pierre will go through that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For the record, Pierre Sabah, Policy Analyst for the Division. This agenda item was brought by NECA/IBEW as they are seeking a retroactive continuing education credit approval for its EVITP course that has been taught since January 25th, 2022 and approved at the July 27, 2023 board meeting. Their request letter is in your board packet, and this agenda item will require a motion to approve or deny this retroactive credit request. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Pierre. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the retroactive request received from NECA IBEW Electrical Training Center for participation of the class is.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Debbie, can you please call the roll?
Yes, sir. Acting Chair John Flegel?
Aye.
Chair Thomas Kyle?
Aye.
Frank Sonneban?
Aye.
Ken Spencer?
Aye.
Richard Rudder?
Aye.
Ryan Richards?
Aye.
Rob McNeill?
Aye.
Frank Lazalier?
Aye.
Thank you, Frank. Sarah Young?
Aye.
Elizabeth Bunga?
I,
William Barlow?
Aye.
Mr. Acting Chair, the motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Debbie. And it takes us to item D. Pierre again.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For the record, Pierre Sabah, Policy Analyst for the Division. This agenda item was brought by Blu PHX Engineering as they are seeking a retroactive continuing education credit approval for its 8-hour NFPA 7E LV qualified person training course taught on May 3rd, 2023. Their request letter is in your board packet. This agenda item will require a motion to approve or deny this retroactive credit request. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Pierre. Is there any further discussion on this item?
I make a motion to approve the retroactive request received from Blu PHX to give credit to class participants.
Thomas Kyle seconds.
Thank you. Debbie, can you please call the roll?
Yes, sir. Acting Chair John Flegel,
Aye.
Chair Thomas Kyle,
Aye.
Frank Sonnabin,
Aye.
Ken Spencer,
Aye.
Richard Rudder,
Aye.
Ryan Richards,
Aye.
Rob McNeill,
Aye.
Robert Lazalier,
Aye.
Sarah Young,
Aye.
Elizabeth Bunga,
I,
William Barlow.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, Acting Chair, once again, the motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. There being no further business, the September 28th, 2023 Electrical and Elevator Board meeting is adjourned at 10:10.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.